everybody, Brooks from Drag Time. So the most commonly requested race I've been getting lately is McLaren 720S for the Ferrari Pista, which I just haven't been able to get done yet. Don't know any Pista owners down in the South Florida area who want to run the car. I ran across the yellow one up at Lambeau Broward. Looked really awesome. Talked to the owner for a little bit. There were some talks about getting the two cars together at the track, but just didn't pan out. However, what we do have here is the first quarter-mile time down the drag strip of a Ferrari Pista done by the Dobre Brothers. So if you don't know who these kids are, awesome YouTubers. They just started a new channel called Dobre Cars. They got GT2 RS, they got Ferrari Pistas, a bunch of other cool cars. I'll put links down if you want to check out them both on YouTube and on Instagram. But what they did is they took their Ferrari Pista out to Mason-Dixon Dragway in Maryland with some pretty good weather and ran it down the quarter mile. So they buzzed me while they were there. I was talking for a little bit, and I got the time slips and some video that I'm going to go over of the two passes down the quarter mile. And since I can't race the cars yet, I'm going to go over what I think of who might win of these two races. I know it's a lot of bench racing, but I got time slips in similar conditions for both the 720S and the Ferrari Pista, and we'll break down comparing the time slips and comparing how well the Pista actually launched off the line, how it did, off the line. There was a little bit of spin after the launch and so forth. So let's break down the runs, compare the time slips, and then regroup back, and I'll give you my opinions on what I think is going to happen when these two cars actually get a really good race done. All right, so here we go. We got both videos up. Unfortunately, they're in portrait mode for Instagram, but nevertheless, I got both videos side by side. Let's go ahead and play them and see what the slips were. All right, so there you go, 10, 15, 141.8 miles an hour. Really, really good run. Let's play the other one here. All right, so then we got 10, 18, 141.6 miles an hour. I have the time slip. Let's bring up the time slip here. Let's see, bring that over here. So bring the other two slips over here. All right, so let's go over the time slip. We got, the best slip was 10, 1, 141.8 miles an hour, 60 foot, 1.67. That's, if you listen really carefully here, I don't hear any spin off the launch. So right there, no spin at all right there, but you do hear it spin second gear. Right there, so. But the spin in second gear really doesn't affect the quarter mile too much, just maybe a tiny bit. So a couple of things here, 1.67 60 footer, not that great, even though it didn't spin. So the question is, could this car go nines? I think it can. I think, with these turbo cars, you have to let the boost build, and I don't feel like he let it sit long enough on the launch control. I mean, really, if you hear it, back up a little bit more. With the McLaren 720S, you have to let it sit a little bit longer, and the McLaren actually tells you boost ready when you're ready to go. And sometimes I let it hold a little bit longer to see if I can get an RPM bump to get a little more juice off the line. So if that's all the Ferrari Pista has off the line, it's going to be really tough to get that 9-second pass. It also matters where he's staged here. If you deep stage a little more, you can get a little more of advantage. But off the line, it didn't spin, and you're going to need like a 1.59 60 footer for the Pista to get in the nines, even though the mile an hour here is really, really strong. So what I want to do is compare this against McLaren 720S time slip in similar conditions. So we have this tool on drag times, which is the DA calculator tool. So if we bring this window up, we'll look up the date here on drag times. If you go to tools and you go to density altitude calculator and you bring up the date, this is on 4/27/19, okay, and then you select the track. So you go down to Mason-Dixon. here, and you get weather data, and you scroll down to, let's see, this was at 3:43 p.m. So this is 1, 2, 3, it's about here. You look at the DA, and the DA in this case was about 1,500 feet. So this tool is great for, you know, looking up time slips and backdating and seeing, you know, what certain cars ran in what conditions. So what I did is I brought up a similar time slip that I ran recently in the McLaren 720S. That was at about 1,400 DA, so very, very close. Let me go and bring up that time slip and we compare the two. All right, so right here is the 720S time slip that I ran in March, so about a month and a half ago. And you can see much better launch, 159. The McLaren didn't spin as either off the line, but it came off harder, and that allowed me to get a 9.8 and 143.41 miles an hour. Interesting enough, the mile an hour on the McLaren was much higher here and lower here, and it looks like the Pista picked up a little more in the back half than the McLaren, although it's actually pretty close. So there you go. This is comparing the two time slips. I do feel like they could have kept on the launch a little longer on the Pista to see if it would have come out a little harder. All right, so here's a run of the McLaren that night, the 9.8 pass. And of course, I have the Toyo R888R tires on here, so definitely a little bit more sticky than what the Ferrari has. Of course, I did run 9s in the on OEM tires in the 720S as well, but let's listen. So no spin at all. Let me turn that up a little bit. So that's the 720S, and of course I mentioned the boost ready signal, and that's over here in this launch video that I'll show you. Boost building, boost ready. So maybe it's about the same. Let me hear it again. So there you go. I think, you know, maybe a little longer on the boost control, or on the launch control for the Pista might help it a little more off the line. I'd love to get my hands on a Pista and give it a try down the quarter mile. And of course, I'd really like to get a nice McLaren 720S versus Pista race done. Honestly, it's probably going to be a driver's race, whoever wins. The real question is, can the Pista get the current record of the McLaren 720S, which is a 9.7 at 145 or 146 miles an hour? That's to be seen. With really good DA, I think the Pista will definitely pick up the mile an hour here from 141. But can it go 9.7? That all depends on this launch here. This launch would have to be much, much better. And so that's either going to get done from the Pista on a really good track prep, some sticky tires, and of course enough boost off the line to get that 60-footer time. All right, so there you go. You saw it. Ferrari Pista versus the McLaren 720S, and some benchmarking, just comparing time slips. Thanks again to the Dobre Brothers for sending me the footage and let me go over the time slips with you all. And I hope to get a Pista versus 720S heads-up race down the drag strip done soon. Of course, if there's any Pista owners who want to get a race done in South Florida, let me know. Let's do it. If you're elsewhere and you have access to another 720S, I'm happy to come up and travel and get the race done. So with that being said, Ferrari Pista versus 720S is going to be really, really close. McLaren's got its hands full with the Pista. Ferrari's really bumped up the power. This car is a serious competitor, probably both on and off the track. And of course, I know McLaren's got some new stuff coming by the end of the year. They're probably going to announce the new McLaren 720 LT, 750 LT. Probably have a bump in horsepower close to what the Senna has. So if we're talking another 50, 60 horsepower in the 720S in its track-focused version, along with dropping some weight, I think McLaren's going to be way, way ahead of everyone else, as it has been for a long time now. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll keep the videos coming. Thanks a lot.
So, yeah, right here? Okay. Yeah, you got it.